Hello there. Welcome back to the Digital Literacy Series on togetherlearning.com. My name's Eric, and in this video, we've been talking about our digital selves and our digital lives and how we represent ourselves on things like social media. And in this video in particular, we're going to look at Facebook in particular and kind of start to understand how we see the things we see on Facebook, why we see certain things when we log into Facebook and not others, and how we might be represented as we post things, as we like things, as we interact with Facebook. So, we all using Facebook, I hope. It's the biggest online community ever in the world. It's a place where many of us get our news. It's sometimes the first and last place many of us check online. It's a part of our digital self, and it has the largest networks of scale of any online social networking platform. Last year, they got up to 2 billion active monthly users. What that means is 2 billion people on the planet. This is a large percentage of human beings log into Facebook at least once a month. And a lot of us are doing it every day or even multiple times a day. So this is a big part of our social digital society. And that's why it's important in particular to talk about Facebook as it relates to our dissemination and how we're communicating with each other. So let's ask the question, if you've ever asked it before. Let's dig a little bit deeper. So why do you see what you see on Facebook, right? When you log into Facebook, you are presented with something they call the news feed. And you can scroll down it, and it has posts from your friends, maybe a video or two, some advertisements of, some shoes or some gadget in my case. And there is a particular reason you're seeing any and all of that information, and it's good to understand why you're seeing the posts you are on Facebook, because a lot of these concepts, a lot of these ideas don't just relate to Facebook, but they relate to all larger social networking, and as we move towards the future, how you will get curated and how you'll get presented information moving towards the future. So there are 3 main concepts, main ideas of why you see the things you do on Facebook. One is your past behavior. The other is the news feed algorithm. And lastly, the community standards that Facebook has in place. Let's go through these one by one. We all talked about in other parts of this series your digital footprint. Everything you do, everything you interact with, every action you take online is recorded in some way, and many times that data is kept somewhere for use, either now or in the future. Facebook is no different, and in fact, they are one of the best online companies gathering as much data about you as possible for many different reasons, but mostly to keep you on Facebook, to keep you looking at it, because they want to show you things you like. So everything you do on Facebook is logged, is taken into account and collected as data. And it is a lot more data than you can even imagine, right? These are just some of the things that Facebook gathers information about you as you use the service. And in some cases, You don't even have to be using Facebook for them to gather data about you. What you post, your videos and your comments, what you like and dislike, those are easy to understand. But also things, every time you buy something, every time you connect or log in using what's called a Facebook API. Sometimes you log into a website using Facebook login credentials. Facebook sometimes can even know when you're using your cell phone. Like if you have Facebook or Messenger on your mobile device, in some cases, Facebook can even log your incoming and outgoing phone calls. It can track where you are in the world using GPS information, where you've logged in, and the information about the network you've logged into. If you're logging in from a campus, a known IP address of a sports venue, or anything like that, all that information is curated. So then Facebook knows what information you might need or want to see in your Facebook feed. Just to show you a little bit better example of that, recently, Facebook is allowing you to download your personal data. And I've gone in and tried this actually. I started Facebook in 2010, roughly, and I asked to get all of these curated information, which accumulated into about 779 megabytes. And this is a compressed file. And after it was uncompressed, it was even bigger than that. And it had all of these categories of data in which to see. And I unpacked those data, and you can see all these categories about me, the ads I clicked on, the apps and websites I connected Facebook to, the comments I did, the events I either showed interest in or actually participated in, who my friends are, what groups I'm in, the locations from which I used Facebook, the pages I like and the pages I manage, the photos and videos I post, of course, the things that I saved, and you can actually browse that information, and it looks kind of like this. So, right, they divide it into posts, comments, and what have you. What I've liked. You can see the pages I've liked, people I'm following. It collects all of the messages you've used on Facebook Messenger as well. The events I went to. And the ads, these are very interesting information. It's like ads I've clicked on. And I've only clicked on a few in my history, but they're all listed there. The IP addresses that I've logged in with, and my address book. So there is a ton of information available for you to see. So I encourage you to go onto Facebook and check out your own viewing history. And it's even possible to delete that information, some of that information, if you ask Facebook and you don't like what you see there. So all this information, Facebook, of course, is a for-profit company. They want you to use the service. They want you to be happy with the service. So they'll take all this past behavior and use it to show you things that you have engaged with in the past. So there's some good and bad things about this, right? Of course, you get to see more of what you like. If you spend a lot of time looking at pictures of your friends and maybe some shoes or some fashion, you're more likely to see ads about shoes and fashion, which would be interesting to you. You click on a particular friend's posts or like them more often, you're going to see more posts from that person or from that group or from that page. But what this is doing as a whole is curating information for which you like. And sometimes we need to get information that is important to us and not necessarily what we like. So just based on what we like, we may not be getting all the information that we need, and we may be encouraging or having less of a common base of information as heavy Facebook users. So you don't know what you see is not what your friend sees. Next, the newsfeed algorithm. So your news feed, that information from which Facebook is showing you, is curated. It's put through this very complicated and secret algorithm, a computer algorithm that measures the importance of each post and then decides to put that into your feed. And of course, one of the first things listed here is your past behavior. So everything that you've done in the past is one of the biggest parts of this algorithm that the newsfeed shows you. But then again, I talked about sometimes if we see just what we like, we're not getting information that's important to perhaps our local area, or that's important to your country, or your some special interest community that you're interested in. Therefore, Facebook measures the current engagement of certain posts, how many people that you know or you engage with are engaging with certain kinds of content, and if a lot of people are engaging with it, clicking like or commenting or sharing, you're more likely to see that in your newsfeed. And of course, Facebook is a commercial operation, so they're trying to sell products, they're selling ads, they're selling your attention to those companies, to those products, to those services. So you will see paid advertisements in your newsfeed. A lot of the times, your past behavior will dictate what kinds of ads you see. And again, this is a largely secretive algorithm. We know that these things in general, these concepts, affect your newsfeed, but we don't know in particular what this algorithm is, what the math is in this algorithm. One reason is that Facebook doesn't want people gaming the system. What I mean by that is they don't want advertisers in particular, or specific groups of people, knowing how to manipulate the numbers in such a way to get more people to see content. Right? You can basically cheat the system if you knew exactly how it worked. Right. That's the news feed. And it is curated for you, and you don't get to see everybody's posts. And talking to Facebook engineers, there's a quote here with so many stories. There's a good chance people would miss something they wanted to see if we displayed a continuous, unranked stream of information. Facebook did try this at one point. They allowed users to just see an uncurated stream in chronological order, by meaning the time that they were posted, of all their friends' posts. But people didn't like that. And it was hard to keep up with all the information. Let's say, for example, I'm in Japan. A lot of my friends are in America. There's a big time difference there. So most of the important posts that my friends are posting from America, I'm sleeping. So if this was a continual chronological display, I wouldn't see their information because it would be covered up by people in Japan, and I'd have to scroll down quite a ways to see the past, to see their posts. So Facebook engineers have worked hard to build in this curation into the product, mainly for our convenience. Right, the third thing, and it is the community standards of Facebook. And basically what that is just a set of rules that Facebook is continually updating to tell us as Facebook users what we can and cannot post to Facebook. These basically are a list of things that they will take down, and a lot of them for good reasons, and a lot of it also is very difficult and fuzzy. They're basically privatizing the First Amendment in a lot of ways in this behavior. Free speech and the ability to share information in society is a very difficult, very highly debated subject. Being an American, our First Amendment, one of the um, most important laws in the country, is the ability to not be suppressed and be able to give your opinions, your thoughts, and say what you like. Facebook, of course, tries in some ways to hold that kind of concept in high regard, but again, they're a for profit company with a lot of different um, stakeholders and a lot of different goals. So it's very difficult, very messy process to know what the rules are for posting information. Let's talk a little bit about what I mean by that. But first, let's show this little video
is a place where
about
more
what
than a
Facebook
billion
thinks of
people
these
worldwide
standards.
come to share their thoughts and feelings. Sometimes they post content that's upsetting or insensitive, and some of those things can make people feel unsafe, like bullying, hate speech, or violence. That's why we have global community standards to decide what and who should be removed. To develop them, we included insights from academics, human rights organizations, and everyday Facebook users around the world. Putting these standards into action takes a combination of technology and people power. Our systems catch many things like porn and spam before most people even see them. But we also encourage our community to confidentially report things they think violate our standards. People send us millions of reports like this each week. Automation helps us prioritize the ones that go to our team of human reviewers, who work 24/7 in over 40 languages across the globe. Their job is to carefully review reports against our community standards. After examining the issue with language and cultural context in mind, they make a decision, usually within 24 hours, though matters of urgent safety come first. Through this process, thousands of violating posts are removed in the US every week, and we're constantly improving to give you more control over what you see, helping us to make Facebook a more safe and welcoming place for everyone. Find out more at facebook.com/community standards.
So that's what Facebook sees as their community standards ideals. They're trying to create, with these set of rules, a safe and productive atmosphere for which us to share posts. But it's complicated and it's a lot of gray area. Um, it's gray in the fact that they're making very specific rules of what we can and cannot post, but there's also exceptions. Communities around the world, Facebook is in every country. So what people think in one country may not apply to another country as far as things like nudity or graphic violence or the kind of language being used. So this is not an easy thing to do, and Facebook is struggling actually, and honestly, with this concept, with this idea. So the community standards, that you can find them online. Um, it's becoming a longer document all the time. It's being updated all the time, but it goes into these categories: violence and crime, safety, objectionable content, integrity, intellectual property, and content related requests. So you cannot post on Facebook if you are committing a crime. This goes to people are trying to organize crime or trying to incite violence against anyone or anything. Um, this goes to terrorism as a part of this as well. Groups trying to bring people together in order to commit either acts of violence or crime will try and almost always be stopped, or that communication will be flagged. Next category is safety, and that usually comes with personal safety and mental safety. So in this category are things like cyberbullying. If someone is being attacked or harassed either sexually or mentally, on Facebook's platform, they will try and take this content down. Objectionable content. This is the most interesting and difficult category for their standards because it includes something called hate speech. And hate speech came out of laws in America to try to discourage attacks against specific groups, like a race or an ethnicity or nationality or sexual orientation. But it's very difficult to know, especially in these cultural contexts, what is and isn't. Hate speech, many times, as we'll learn a little bit later, people that are curating these things, sometimes it's a computer, sometimes it's a human, but that human may be in a completely different culture than you. So it's hard for them to discern what might be satire or local information or might be a joke that's acceptable in one culture and not the other. Integrity, that comes with this idea of fake news. So Facebook has been criticized for allowing untrue information to be disseminated on its platform. And so these standards are meant to give guidelines to help people know when it's okay to post something that's not factually true. Content related and intellectual property, those are basically to help with copyright laws and trademarks. So you cannot post things on Facebook from which you don't have the rights to disseminate that information. So you can't take a picture at a movie theater or post your favorite music and call it your own on Facebook. It's just abiding by or complying with a lot of national copyright and intellectual property laws around the world. And again, different countries have different laws, but this is the Facebook standards, to which Facebook will try their best to do these worldwide, which is, again, a big challenge. So, how do they do this? There's billions, we already said, billions of people on Facebook posting stuff, and it's impossible to check everything that goes on Facebook. So they built these AI systems, artificial intelligence, and it will look at pictures, automate looking at pictures and post to see if they comply with this list of community standards. But the AI is really getting better at some things, but it's still terrible at others. We need people to help check these things for us. The AI, for example, is getting very good with using computer vision, which is a part of augmented reality and artificial intelligence, where a computer can analyze a picture and tell if it's pornography or if there's nudity in it or if it is some sort of terrorist propaganda. Something like 99% of all of these type of images are now taken down from Facebook automatically. So nobody ever sees them unless they're taken down, and maybe you can object to your photo being taken down, saying that AI took that down. But that picture does really apply. You have to dispute that taking down. But things like I said before earlier, hate speech is really difficult. We have comedians that are always pushing the boundaries of what is considered appropriate language. And sometimes it's very culturally relevant, some things that are important news that we need to hear, but we still need to see it and know about it. So this is things that humans will have to check. And Facebook now has somewhere between 15 and 20,000 human content reviewers around the world checking content that either other people flagged or an AI system has flagged. And it's really interesting to know about the violations of their community standards and what kind of impact that has on our society in general. Thinking about Facebook, because all this stuff is being taken away from our vision. It's being taken out of our collective news feeds. This is stuff nobody will ever see. All the stuff I was talking about before, your past behavior and the algorithm, those are things that either the community or the advertising community or your past behavior kind of going to get melded together and shown to you. So you might see it, but other people might not. In this case, they're taking it down so no one ever sees it. It's a form of censorship in a way. So these rules are really important in our overall digital society moving forward. And what gets put on or what gets taken down is really important. One good telling quote by a former Facebook employee that helped create these standards said, "We're not trying to be perfect. We're not even necessarily trying to be 100% just or fair. We're just trying to make something that works." Okay, so there's a couple of problems with these. Trying to create these standards. Like I said before, there's different cultures, different ideas of what can be posted or should be posted. But what's fair to one person might not be fair to another, or one culture might not be fair to another. So to make things consistent, let's say a content reviewer and an AI want to make the same judgment on some content, whether it should be on Facebook or taken off, or someone in India, another person in, I don't know, Eastern Europe. They have different religions, different cultural backgrounds, but Facebook wants them to make the same judgment call on the content, whether it should be on Facebook or not. So it's very difficult, and in many ways, many people think it's an impossible task. But they're just trying to ride that thin line between being consistent and being fair to those that need to get their content on Facebook. So one of the things that is in the Facebook current standards training that used to be in the training for content reviewers got leaked a while back, and it's very telling about one of their big hate speech identifiers. So think about this question just for a second. Which of the subjects below do we protect? So Facebook is asking, of these three groups, female drivers, black children, white men, which, if I said I hate female drivers are the worst, they're scum. Black children are scum. White men are scum. If I said those three things on Facebook, one of them is going to be taken down. Which of those three do you think will be taken down and considered hate speech? I'll give you 1 second to think about it. Well, the answer is white men is protected. So if you say white men are scum, or white men are the worst, or white men and some other horrible words after it, that is considered hate speech when female drivers or black children are not. And this, of course, seems horrible to think about, horrible to... it gives Facebook a horrible image. Why would you allow black children, not in something, and then but take down white men, something, 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 right? It's the opposite of what a lot of people are seeing as privileged society in many cultures in the world. So why do they do this? Well, if we looked at the community standards, which I don't have, but maybe over here, they have something from which they define hate speech as, right? Based on protected characteristics. Protected characteristics such as race, ethnicity, national origin, religious affiliation, sexual orientation, caste, sex, gender, identity, or other things. So those are protected. Your race, your ethnicity, your national origin. If you attack those things, it's considered hate speech, according to Facebook. So they don't have the qualifier on them. So drivers you can attack. That's not a protected group. And it seems really odd to me, but children are not a protected group. Sometimes there was an example given. Sometimes children do silly and sometimes stupid things because they're just don't have experience in the world. I have a daughter and she does some very silly things, but we want to be able to laugh at that. We want to be able to point that out. We want to be able to share the silly things our children does on Facebook. It's one of the biggest things people share on Facebook. So they are not considered a protected group, while white men, in this case, white being a race and men being a group of people, that is now considered a protected group. So this is kind of a trick question, and optically this looks horrible for Facebook, and this leak was really telling of their practices. So again, what is hate speech? We define hate speech as a direct attack on people based on protected characteristics: your race, your sexual orientation, your religious, your gender, etc. If you're attacked for being a bad driver, or you're attacked for having a bad haircut, that's okay. That's not considered hate speech and not taken down by Facebook. Now, humans have to go through a lot of these posts and look at them, and it's very important for us, I think, to think about the toll, the strain, what these type of people see on a daily basis. So I'd like to give us just a little taste of one of these content reviewers and what their life is like.
Every day you will see things that shock you, traumatizing stuff. The headings: child pornography, animal abuse. You become like a machine. With this hand, the next button, and this button, yes or no. So you click, next, decide, next, decide.
What was the worst kind of content you had to see?
I would definitely go with child pornography, because you get to see like even a 6-month-old baby being raped. Also terrorism. You see very graphic images of blood. Every day you will see things that shock you, traumatizing stuff. The headings: child pornography, animal abuse.
So that's just grueling to hear, and it's very upsetting even just to hear about how these people at Facebook, these 10, 15, some people even think 20,000 people employed by Facebook that have to go through all of these images and check to see if they violate these community standards. And they can be horrible. As a society, we are now able to share anything and everything, and Facebook is one of the biggest places to do so. So it's understandable that some of the worst things humanity has to offer gets surfaced on Facebook. And it's what's interesting to me is that these people, these curators, have to decide in a very short time, maybe 1 to 3 seconds, whether that's acceptable and click yes or no on it. But for many reasons, bad things sometimes need to be seen. We sometimes need to point out terrorism to know and where to stop it, or need to show violence to know who's been doing the wrong things, or etc., etc. Anyway, these are very fuzzy and difficult concepts that Facebook is challenging. So that was why we see what we see on Facebook. Your past behavior, the newsfeed algorithm, and the community standards all go into why you see what you see on your newsfeed. If you'd like to continue on this journey with me in digital literacy, please stay tuned to Together Learning on Facebook, YouTube, and the website. I'm Eric again. Bye-bye.